Well, hello everyone to yet another Discussions with Dolf. Once again, we have a view here. I don't know why I pick places with views all the time. It's just because places without a view perhaps are a bit more boring. Anyway, the first question I have today comes from Sally out of, where is it? Out of Launceston, Tasmania. And Sally's question is, Dolf, I want to sell my property. I know you're not a big proponent of selling. Should I get my tenant out of it first? And gosh, this is an interesting one, because firstly I would question you, why do you even want to sell the property? I used to have 8 golden rules. Some of you who are familiar with my book Real Estate Riches will know that there are 8 golden rules. And one of the golden rules used to be never sell. And I realized that that didn't always make sense, that sometimes there are extenuating circumstances under which selling a property does have some justification or merit. It might be in a town, for instance, where there's no growth left because the only industry that was there has gone out of business or whatever it is. So I changed the rule from never sell to seldom sell. In other words, if you can avoid it, don't sell. So I'm sure you've got your own reason, Sally, as to why you want to be selling this property. But then it does result in the valid question, should you leave your tenant in there or not? And I'm afraid the law will probably surpass your own evaluation of this, because if your tenant is there on a long-term lease, say a year or 2 years, then you can't get rid of them unless there's a clause in your lease contract with the tenant that says, in the unlikely event that you should ever want to sell the property, then you have the right to terminate the lease. Usually that's not included in a lease document, so if the tenants still have, for instance, 7 months to run on the lease, then they have the absolute right to be there for another 7 months. That doesn't, of course, preclude you from even putting it on the market or selling it. It's just that any potential buyer would have to honor the remaining duration of that lease. In that sense, you might limit your market to people who are investors, or to those owner occupants who want to ultimately live in there, who are willing to wait the duration of the lease before you actually can have them move in there. So it's a bit of a toss-up as to what the best thing to do is. When I'm looking at buying a property, I don't mind whether it's tenanted or not, because my purpose in buying a property, or nearly every property, is that I want to rent it out. So if it's already got a tenant in place, to me that's a bit of an advantage. But I'm sure you'll understand, Sally, that if someone wants to buy the property to live in it, and there's still a 3-year length remaining on the lease, then you're going to have a bit of a challenge selling it. But I would say do an evaluation of the market. Ask your local agents. They'll probably know, will it sell for more or less when it's tenanted? Sometimes they sell for more when they're tenanted, especially if it's in a part of town where there are a lot of rental properties and the most likely buyer is going to be another renter. And likely buyer is going to be another investor who wants tenants in there. You see, just for the record, I never redo these videos because I want them to be raw and fresh. If they were all learned, if I studied them for days beforehand and then got my answer down pat, it wouldn't come across as, as spontaneous and perhaps as honest as it would be if it was all researched by a team of researchers. Anyway, that's where we're at. I hope that answers your question, and I look forward to being with you again next time, all of you. And in the meantime, as usual, successful investing. Thank you so much.